Do you ever get frustrated with the performance of your assets? I'm talking about like your equity in a home or like a 401k or IRA, just thinking, man, if I could be earning higher returns, I'd be able to retire a lot sooner or more comfortably, or I'd feel more secure. Or maybe my goal is financial freedom. I'm about to introduce you to a couple that's here. We're right in the middle of one of my big events, and we're gonna share their experience. They have been moving assets from 2 strategic underperforming locations and actually moving them into real estate. We're gonna find out what that is and how that's projected to create a change for them. Check it out.
'Cause we're gonna be legends. What we're doing here ain't just scary. It's about to be legendary.
All right, you guys, how are we doing? Good. Kris to Darren, glad to have you guys here. You bet. Our journey has only started, what, like a couple months ago?
Yep. November.
Since November, and just in that short period of time, look at what has happened. You guys are already under contract on your first house.
That's right.
Working on getting the second one going.
Yep.
And are you excited?
Oh,
Totally
yeah.
excited.
Oh, yeah, we're so excited.
Now, you guys actually happen to be here at our event. How's it been going so far?
It's awesome.
Awesome. Yeah.
I recommend everybody does it.
Why is that?
Because it is a life-changing event. It is.
It
really is.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate that. We know that everyone else really that comes here feels that way, but everyone for a different reason. And I want to know your reasons. And before I ask you, we're actually going to just share with you. I had them on stage the other day celebrating being under contract, getting under contract again. We presented a house to them, and then they actually had a chance to do one of our famous watch breaks, which represents the start of a journey of getting your time back. Check it out. This is more of our standard, typical rock star, everyday, put a big, massive smile on my face kind of real estate. By the way, look at this house. Does this look like this house is in a dumpy neighborhood? No. It's a nice house, right? Now, help me understand. Can you see the address? What's the purchase price? This one has a cash-on-cash ROI of 6%, growing to 7.5%, nearly to 10%. With appreciation, I'm nearly 10.5%. And then with appreciation, I'm 31%. By the way, how do I feel about the ROI on this house? Right? Such a winner. Such a winner. Guys, if the number's over 25%, you're gonna win, win, win no matter what. Do you guys have that song? I love that song. I love it. So you look at the numbers on this one as well. It is just, this is what I'm trying to buy every single time when I'm in Florida. And I'm going to invite Darnell and Krissa to come on up on the front of the stage. Guys, can you help me welcome them on up? What's up, brother? How you guys doing? All right, we got a microphone for you guys. And we just really have one question. But before we ask it, how are you enjoying the event so far?
It's freaking awesome.
Are you having fun?
We're having fun.
Have you been here before?
We have, this is number 2.
And how is it the second go round?
It is spectacular.
Awesome.
Are you learning the same things or different things?
Picking up reinforcement, but new things continually.
Yeah, guys, our events keep morphing and changing. Later this year, we're going to be actually making an exciting announcement about our event structure. But I'm glad that you guys have decided to come back and share this experience. And today is your day to check out this freaking awesome beauty of a home. What do you think about it?
It's spectacular.
So here's the question. You guys help me out. Ready? Do you want this house?
Yes!
Give it up for them!
Let's do it!
When you work corporate America for 40 years and you retire, traditionally you receive something, you get something. Do you know what you get? You get a watch. And I think that that is really a funny token. I think it is so weird to say, thank you for giving me your life. Not just the last 40 years, but I want to thank you for your prime time. In fact, from the start of the day until the end of the day, I want to thank you for possessing you. Making decisions, and then you have to do them. And we would like to celebrate that with a token that reminds you of how much life we got out of you. How do you feel about the watch? How do you feel about the watch? I'll tell you what I think about the watch. I always give my brand new partners a beautiful watch, not at the end of our journey, but at the what? And instead of being a token of owning your time, real estate is actually about getting your time what? How many of you want to get your time back? Bear with me for just a moment as I share this with you. The day that I quit my job, I woke up and I turned over to my wife in bed and I said, "Is today the day?" And she said, "Kris, you could have done this anytime in the last 2 years." And I said, "I'm finally ready." I had exceeded my goals. I had now not just a $10,000 residual income, I had a $12,000 a month residual income. And while I had grown in my company and they were paying me very well, I was going to decide to walk away from all of that money by the time I had grown that from $18,000 to $135,000 a year. At the time, that was a really respectable income for a young man who was 26 years old. And I looked at that and I said, if I give up this $135,000, I'm going to get something back. What will I get back? I'm going to get back my time. And so with my wife's support, I had breakfast that morning. I grabbed an empty box. I put it in the passenger side of my BMW convertible. And I got in my car and I drove to the office. And I was feeling so good until I got outside the building, which is, by the way, 8 minutes from where we are right now. And I pulled my car up front and I grabbed my box and I looked up and I saw the windows. I'm like, someone's going to see me. And I got nervous and I threw my box back in the car, shut the door, and I walked in nervous, and all of a sudden, no one knew what was in my mind, but I felt like I was broadcasting it to everyone, like one of those dreams where you're naked and everyone sees you. And I'm racing up the stairs and I'm ignoring everyone and I'm being rude and I make a beeline down the hall and I get to Aaron's office, who is my manager, and I knock on his door and I say, "Aaron, I got to talk to you." He says, "Kris, can we do it later this afternoon?" Based on the way I was feeling, did I want to do it that afternoon? So I said, "Aaron, it's got to be right now." He's like, "Kris, we're about to start a meeting." And I came in, I just slammed the door. I said, "We need to talk right now." And last minute, I was so nervous about quitting, firing myself, firing him, that I decided how much money more would I have to ask for them to keep me. And I thought, I'd have to make over $200,000 a year, so I should ask for a $70,000 raise. And inside I'm thinking, this is stupid. But I'm like, but I'm too nervous to fire myself. So he says, "What do you need?" I said, "Aaron, I got to talk to you." And there was all sorts of awkward energy. He's like, "Okay, what do you want?" I said, "Aaron, I need a $70,000 raise." And do you know how he responded? He laughed. He laughed really, really hard. And I started laughing too. I was relieved. I was like, oh, I knew that was ridiculous. I said, "Aaron, I need to thank you. Thank you for investing in me the last 4.5 years. My real estate is growing wildly, doing fantastic, and today's my last day. Thank you for supporting me and my family and giving me this opportunity. It's time for me to move on." When I got in my car that day, I want you to understand something happened I did not know would happen. When I left that door and I felt it slam behind me, I reached in my pocket, I felt my BMW keys, I clicked the unlock button, I put the top down, and I started crying for joy because I felt an oxygen enter my body that I had never felt before. I had come off of financial life support and I had become my own self-made man. I could now own my time back. I had unmortgaged my life. I now could do whatever I wanted. I could be lazy or I could be productive. I could change the world or I could do it, frankly, whatever I wanted. It was the best feeling. And I'll never forget driving with the wind in my hair as I felt so incredibly free. And then I called my wife and I said, "I did it. I have my life back. I got my time." And if there's something that I have not taken for granted since then, and just to be clear, I work in many ways harder than I ever have in my life, but I do so as a free man with choice. I work when I want, I play when I want, I'm living the life that I want. And if I died tomorrow, God forbid, I would be able to look back and say, I lived a full life. It is a really nice, pretty watch, but it's got to be broken. Why? What's on this for you?
You know, that represents our start to financial freedom.
I want to say something. I have 8 kids, and that's what we wanted. We want a good legacy for our kids.
A legacy for their family of 8. So now we're about to find out if you're actually going to get that second deal under contract.
Yes.
And we know that there's some motivation that's just more than financial freedom. You guys have not a small family.
No.
How many kids?
8.
We have 8 children.
8 children, right? So for you, what does that, Krista, mean by way of motivation?
That is because I want to teach my kids all of this, and I want them to have a better life, and I want them to not be a slave to the world, and I want them to be their own people.
Yeah.
That's correct. You know, honestly, the purpose for us, the whole why behind us is our 8 children. You know,
Yeah.
it's my job to protect, provide. It's also to help teach and inform them and help them to be successful.
Yeah.
And so we've got 8 kids and we're doing just that.
You know, it's amazing. When people get into the game of real estate, there's always a motivation, and I always want to know what it is. And you know, often it looks like this flashy lifestyle, but always when you really get to the center of it and you really get to know people, we want more mobility. We want more freedom. We want our time back. And we want the ability to create meaningful moments. And that can happen through travel, or that literally can happen at the simple crossroads when kids get home from school and you're simply there. And so I'm excited to be here on this journey with you guys. Let's talk about these underperforming assets. Now, the first thing you did is you decided to use some of your home equity from your house. And for those of you, just so you understand, if you have a house that is worth this and you only owe that, the difference is what we call equity. And there are ways to take that out and put it into other things. But my question is, why do we call home equity underperforming? Well, let me ask you, on your house, does your house make you money?
It does not.
Does it pay you anything?
Nope.
So you get the benefit of living there, but
correct.
it is not an asset from the standpoint that it consumes money from you. It's actually your own house as a liability because it requires something from you every single month. Now that equity that you have, is that paying you anything?
Not a thing.
So it doesn't give you anything. Okay, so what you decided to do is take some of that out and now move it into this first house, by the way, do you remember what the total ROI is projected to be on it?
Total ROI on the first house is 37%.
37%. And if you wanted to know, well, what am I earning in my house? If your market on average, where do you guys live?
Idaho Falls.
So in Idaho Falls, let's just say for all intents and purposes that market is growing at 4% a year. And you've now taken money out and you now have it growing at 37%. There's a difference there of 33%. So moving assets from low yields to high yields is how you go from underperforming to performing. And by the way, that's an awesome move. 33% delta is I'm pumped for you guys. That is really, really cool.
We are excited.
And now you're moving forward on the second one, but you're using different money for that one.
Yep.
What are you using for that one?
401k.
Now 401k, someone's watching this saying, you took out your 401k. You're not supposed to touch that. That's a sacred cow. That's for retirement, baby.
That's right.
But why did you take it out?
You know, it's underperforming again. And
How's it underperforming?
Once you see that compared to the ROIs that we can get from the homes, it's a huge delta again.
Well, and your 401k in the past has it been writing you a check every month?
Nope,
Has it been actually giving you anything?
it hasn't.
But it has been at least growing at some type of average ROI. Most 401ks are growing at, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7% depending. And the average person, by the time they get to 60 years old, has $63,000 in their 401k. It's not exactly what you would call a robust retirement. Did you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So taking that out and putting that in another property, what's the projected ROI on this property that you're looking at?
We're looking at just over 30%.
Just over 30%. So going from, let's just call it to be fair, 5% to 30%, that's a 25% difference.
Absolutely.
Anytime I can create a difference of 5 to 10% more, I'm doing it.
Yep.
But 20% or 30%, I mean,
It's
dude,
awesome.
that is just rocking it. Again, that is really, really incredible, you guys. Listen, take-home video for today is that it can be scary. Were you guys scared to reshuffle your money around?
Yeah, we were. It was a couple months process for me to actually get it right in my mind and decide that that's what I needed to do because the money was just sitting there, it wasn't being used, and it was time to put it to work for me.
Well, it is going to get put to work for you guys. I'm excited what it's going to do for your family. And you know what? 2 homes becomes 4, and 4 becomes 8, and 8 becomes 16. When you're earning good ROIs like that, the goal here and the focus is to have money double every 5 years. And if that's happening, then we can actually put ourselves on a track to feel good about what we're doing.
Yes.
So congratulations, you guys.
Yes.
I'm really excited for you guys.
We are so excited.
And for those of you that might be curious, what would it look like to take an underperforming asset and put it in something that is superior? Or if you want to step into literally a turnkey passive approach to getting into some of the nation's best real estate, there is a link below. Go ahead and click it. You're going to learn more, get a chance to talk to my team, find some great resources, just like you both have found. By the way, this event, is it something you'd recommend for people?
Oh my gosh, yes, do it. Just do it.
So you're going to find information about that in the link below as well, guys. Thank you so much for watching today. Make sure you're a subscriber, and we will see you tomorrow.